What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. The hype is building for Suicide Squad, the upcoming game by Rocksteady Studios. And I gotta say, guys, I'm really excited about this title, especially after watching, the reveals and things of that nature surrounding this game and the rumblings and the, expectations that are coming out. I'm very excited about it, guys, and I want to talk about everything that we want in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions here. I would love to hear yours, whether you disagree or agree, in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So for me, guys, Suicide Squad is a title, like I stated, coming out in 2022 by Rocksteady Studios. And we know Rocksteady, guys. These are the guys, of course, behind the Batman Arkham series. And overall, I enjoyed the Batman Arkham series. I really did. And I'm not saying that that's over. Maybe Rocksteady's going to continue it in some capacity or another. But I love the fact that they are working on Suicide Squad. I think that this is going to be kind of a fresh take almost, kind of get them away from the Batman Arkham series for a period of time. And so now with this title, one of the biggest things for me, guys, is that this is, to me, the type of game that needs to be a full package. We always talk about AAA titles being full package deals where you get, single player, multiplayer, and co-op modes. Seems that we're at least getting the single player as well as multiplayer here in Suicide Squad, which is huge. But I certainly would like to also see co-op modes. I would love to be able to, play with your friends, play that single player story. If, at some point or another, you can play that. I usually play it in the beginning before I even play multiplayer. I always play the single player story first, just to kind of get a feel for the mechanics, gameplay, and things of that nature, and the story, and then I move on to the multiplayer. And so having a full package, though, guys, it brings you back to the game over and over again. We always talk about that. It's very important to have multiple ways that you can connect with a series, especially one like Suicide Squad here that is a new IP for Rocksteady that they're working on. And so you really want them to create something where after you're done playing the single player story, you come back to it over and over again. We know with a lot of other games out there that are AAA titles that only have single player stories, after you're done beating it, that being the campaign, you very well may only play it one more time through. You may not even play it a second time through and move on to other games. So it's very important that you keep that fan base that you build throughout the course of the shelf life of that title. You keep them, coming back for more. And so that for me is first and foremost, guys. I also would love to see this story, this single player story, be a relatively, extended story where it's relatively a longer story than maybe even that of the Batman Arkham series. I would love to see this title be larger, be something that is just, a lot more, there's a lot more story here, a lot more to do within the world, and have it be like a long extended story. I think would be awesome, because a lot of times, guys, these single player stories sometimes are very short. They're not, take 6 hours, 10 hours to beat, and I think it would be great to see this be an extended single player story and experience. I also think, guys, having a semi-open world to a full open world here would be great for this title, because it seems like you're going to be playing multiple members of the Suicide Squad. I think that's going to be really great to understand and learn more about each individual character, as well as being able to explore, being able to explore the city and just kind of make it, feel like a more like a living, breathing space that you're able to traverse in multiple different ways. You have that downtime. You have that time where you're just a supervillain, right? And you're just able to kind of do whatever it is you want. And you kind of are, having that and those aspects to Suicide Squad, I think is going to be, could go very, really a far way for us as fans, and I think Rocksteady would be really smart to make this even just a semi-open world. And when I look at it, guys, even games like Gears of War, I always bring up Gears because Gears of War was it was a very linear story, whereas the direction of where they where you had to go, you couldn't really explore much. But once you got to Gears 5, it changed, and they did a semi-open world setting, and I was very skeptical of that at first. But then after playing it, and you actually get to kind of see what it's all about, it's so so nice to be able to have that semi-open world. It really makes you feel like you're like actually in that world, and something absolutely awesome about that. So I would love to see that as well. Also, guys, for me, getting back to, the multiplayer, I think having, different ways, different earnable items that you can have within the multiplayer, even in the single player story, even in, whatever, the co-op missions and such, I think it would be really awesome to have in the multiplayer earnable items over payable items. We know, guys, most AAA titles have different types of, kind of microtransactions and things of that nature, but I would love to see us get earnable items as we play the multiplayer, whether we're talking PvE where it's you and your friends playing waves and waves of enemies, or if it's you being able to play with your friends in a PvP setting. Whatever it is they decide to do here with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I think that is something that is going to be really important, to have multiple modes, but also having earnable items. That's also going to bring you back to the game, because I've always stated that having really cool earnable items are things that you keep working on over time. The things that you can just pay for, guys, you just pay for them and then you have them, and a lot of times they don't have a lot of meaning. So having earnable items over payable items, I think, is going to be really, really important. And for me, guys, I'm hoping that what Rocksteady Studios decides to do as we go, having like that end game content, or having things that are added along the way. If they add DLC, having it free for everyone, I think would be really great. Having crossplay here with Suicide Squad would be absolutely awesome as well. But I also think, guys, that adding new characters, adding new characters along the journey that you can unlock in the multiplayer especially, but even, having different, weaponry, different weapons, and all of those things that you can even unlock in the single player story would be absolutely awesome. Having like a skill tree where you're able to, obviously get new skills and such as you go along the journey in the single player story, multiplayer, whatever it may be. I think those are ways, guys, in my opinion, that can really bring you back, because you're constantly trying to add to your arsenal, so to speak, from a character perspective, to a weapon perspective, to a skill perspective. All of those things I think are going to be really important. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is easily, guys, the competition, in my opinion, to Marvel's The Avengers. This is kind of like Warner Brothers' take on taking on none other than, Marvel's Avengers. And I think that what we've seen so far with Suicide Squad, I think they absolutely have something here where they can compete against the Avengers. There's been a lot of, backlash to a lot of things within the Avengers, which I'm sure, over time it'll get better. But what I'm getting at is I think Suicide Squad's got a real opportunity here to get a lot of people to try the game out at the very least. And then, of course, may have the opportunity to really bring people from the Avengers over to Suicide Squad to play that. I think last but not least for me, guys, this kind of leads me to the last thing here, which is free-to-play elements. We see it now a lot in the gaming industry. Free-to-play multiplayer like in Halo Infinite, free-to-play Battle Royale, Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, all these different titles. Having Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League have some free-to-play elements, I believe would drastically improve the chances here of people at least just trying the game out. I think it would be absolutely huge, especially multiplayer. I think multiplayer, more than anything, you make that free to play, you are asking for a lot of people to at least try it out. And if you really knock it out of the park, that being Rocksteady, you could have a juggernaut of a title on your hands. So that would be the last thing for me, guys. But, I would love to hear from all of you. What are the things that you want to see in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Suicide Squad content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Hellblade 2, the upcoming title, guys, that's coming to us from Ninja Theory. And I want to talk about this title, this upcoming game, this sequel to the first Hellblade that came out, guys, back in 2017. And, with that, guys, look, Hellblade, to me, is one of those titles that had some really great concepts, some great ideas. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot that, Ninja Theory can take from what they did right, wrong, and what they can do different moving forward and really implement some of those things into Hellblade 2 to make this even a better experience. So in this segment of the show, I want to talk about Hellblade 2 and everything that we want out of this game. And when I say we, guys, once again, I'll be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So for me, guys, with Hellblade 2, I think first and foremost, the main thing that I really want to see here is once again a full package. I want to see this be an experience, really a full experience. Obviously the first game was a single player story, and there's nothing wrong with having a single player story, but there is a problem to it. After you're done playing that single player story, most likely you as a player, as a gamer, may play that story again, once again, over again, or even a couple of times over again on a harder difficulty or to find different collectibles and, unlockable items and such. But for most of us, after you beat a game one time through, you move on to other games. And so for me, if I'm Ninja Theory, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we want to have a great experience for people once again, and we want to elaborate on what we started with the first Hellblade, but we want people to come back after they're done playing that single player story. So what does that mean? That means you add, on top of the single player story, co-op modes and multiplayer modes. And so, guys, I think that there's a lot of ideas here. This is a very creative game. Very creative, which I absolutely love. I love how creative this title is, and from my experience playing it, I loved how it was very different in a multitude of different aspects. It was different, but I thought that Ninja Theory did a really great job with the first game in the series. What I'm hoping to be a long-withstanding series. But that being said, okay. So with Hellblade 2, having multiplayer as well as co-op modes on top of single-player campaign, I think is very important. It just is, guys. After you're done being that story, like I said, you come back to play the multiplayer and the co-op modes. And you may ask yourself, what could they possibly do to add, multiplayer or co-op? And the answer to that, guys, is you could take, different concepts like from Gears of War, where Gears of War has, a horde mode, and you could implement some of those ideas to Hellblade 2. For example, playing, in a PvE setting where you're playing with your friends and you're going up against waves and waves of enemies. Things of that nature just, get you to, play waves and waves of enemies. From Hellblade 1, that the concepts and the story and such, a lot of the time as you're playing that game, it's very much so like you're playing waves and waves of enemies as you go throughout the course of the story. If you're playing that single player story, that's really what you're doing. When you go up against enemies, it's almost like you're going up against, waves and waves of enemies. So having that, though, in a co-op setting where you're able to rank up, where you're able to get other unlockables and such to customize your characters and things of that nature in multiplayer would be huge. You could even do PvP, guys. They absolutely could do it, okay? So don't think for a second that just because Hellblade 1 didn't have multiplayer that they couldn't implement that to the second game. Because I could take any game that's ever been made and basically state that whether or not it had multiplayer, if it just had a single player story, you could make it into a multiplayer game. And I think it's really important for these IPs. That being said, that leads me to the next thing, which is the story. And I gotta say that the story is so unique that I don't want them to go away from it as much. Some of the dialogue and such, I thought that they did a pretty good job with, right? I thought that the voice, actors and actresses were absolutely great. This next game, though, I want it to be a longer story. Obviously, that's one thing I think is really going to be important, is having a longer story. Not that the first game wasn't, it was a decent length, but like I said, if you're only going to have a single player story, make it a very long, drawn out story. Not saying that there's a lot of moments that are very dull and such, but maybe even having more exploration and such, kind of like The Witcher. So having a longer story, I think, is going to be really important if you're not planning on doing multiplayer and co-op. But even if you are, having a longer single-player story where you're able to explore, where you're able to dive more into the lore, the story of Hellblade, I think is going to be really important. That leads me to that next thing, which is in a semi-open world to a full open world, kind of setting. We're able to explore a lot, guys, at least somewhat. There are moments of Hellblade 1 where you're able to explore a little bit. It's not much though, guys. It's a pretty linear experience. Sure, they kind of have puzzles where you got to like solve and you got to figure out like where to go next. But at the same time, to me at least, I feel like they could really expand upon this, not from a puzzle perspective, which they could, but from the perspective of being able to explore more, to learn more about the story of Hellblade and, all the different places that you're going to and such. I just think that's going to be really important as well. That leads me to the next thing, which is the enemies and, the characters as a whole, guys. Look. The enemies, I thought, it just got very repetitive near the end of Hellblade 1. It was just a lot of the same exact enemies. I think that, Hellblade could have done really good, the first game could have done really good playing multiple bosses. And I'm not saying that you don't play bosses in Hellblade 1, because you do, but I think having even more variety on that, where it's more like kind of like God of War, because you could tell that they took some things from God of War in this title, but I think expanding upon that would be great. I think having more bosses that you're fighting, more variety of the different types of enemies you're going up against, to the different types of weapons that you're using, the moves, all of those things, guys, I think are going to be really, really important moving into Hellblade 2. It's just, it's a different type of style, which I absolutely am totally fine with, but I just want to have a bigger arsenal of weaponry, upgrade skill trees, things of that nature to really, kind of add more to that experience. In my opinion, it's going to be really important. But yes, new enemies, new environments, new characters that you're coming across is going to be really important as well. Overall, though, guys, I want this title to really be great. I want it to be great. I thought the first game, they were kind of onto something. There were elements of it that I didn't enjoy, but that's how it is with any title, guys, out there. There's going to be things that you like about a game and things that you don't like. And Hellblade 1 was not for everyone. I enjoyed it for what it was very different. I've played a lot of different games, guys. It was very different. And I'm excited about what, the possibilities of Hellblade 2 are. And from the graphics and such, it looks to be just as just as twisted, as, psychological as the first game, but I just want them to really add more to it. So you come back for more of the experience, whether you're talking from a single player perspective, co-op, or multiplayer. But with that, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys want to see in Hellblade 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Hellblade 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked a lot on the YouTube channel about Titanfall 3, and if you guys want to, you can check out all of those videos that I've previously put up about Titanfall 3 on the YouTube channel here. But with that being said, I want to talk about, will there be a Titanfall 3? And we've gotten some new information that's come out, some rumors, some leaks that have come out, guys. And so I want to talk about those things, break it down. There's a ton of speculation, the rumblings, the excitement that a possible Titanfall 3 may be coming, myself included. But with that being said, guys, let's get into this thing and let's break it down. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. So with that being said, guys, in an article written by Francesco Di Maio of WCCF Tech, Titanfall 3 is in development according to a known Apex Legends data miner. Respawn Entertainment is hard at work on supporting their Battle Royale game Apex Legends, but rumors suggest that the studio is also working on Titanfall 3. Known Apex Legends data miner Biased12 recently revealed that Titanfall 3 is currently in development. He did not provide additional info, but there are apparently multiple sources, and he thinks this is not a coincidence. Shortly after revealing that Titanfall 3 is in development, Biased12 made his Twitter profile private, but users managed to screenshot one of his tweets. And so the tweet says, guys, maybe I need to point this out. Yes, I did delete my tweet about Titanfall 3, but that was only because the tweet I quoted got deleted, but I still stand by my words. Titanfall 3 is in the works. As Respawn has previously denied that Titanfall 3 is in development, we have to take what has been revealed today with a grain of salt, despite Bias12 being reliable when it comes to Apex Legends information. Still, it has been some time since the studio denied that it is working on a new entry in the Titanfall series, so things may have changed since then. So I've gone on record, guys, many times here on the YouTube channel talking about Titanfall 3 and the reasons why this game should exist and why this game needs to come back. Titanfall 2, I believe, was very much so an underrated title, and I think that the problem with that was that, I mean, number one, it released between Battlefield and Call of Duty, and that was a huge mistake by, obviously Respawn. They should have never done that. They were really trying to kind of show the world that they are the next FPS, and that's just not the case. However, that really did not give Titanfall much of a chance at the end of the day because you're going up against Battlefield and Call of Duty. Titanfall should have released way before or maybe even after. Nonetheless, though, Titanfall 3 needs to happen, guys, because we've seen the success of Apex Legends. And Apex, guys, look, it's one of those titles, it's not for everybody. I enjoy it for what it is. I think it's a very fun battle royale. It's unique in what it, in a lot of different aspects. And it's in the Titanfall universe. So what Respawn could very well do is take Titanfall 3, they release it, but they can use Apex Legends as a marketing tool, similar to how Call of Duty is using Warzone when it comes to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and probably what they're going to do in the future. They'll probably continue doing that. Titanfall 3, guys, would be huge. It's not necessarily that it's going to split the fan base between Apex and Titanfall. It's the simple fact that you can play the Battle Royale, which is Apex, or you can play all these other game modes and the campaign and such if that's what they decide to add to Titanfall 3 in Titanfall 3. So it's not necessarily splitting the fan base because it's not really doing that with Call of Duty Warzone, and then, of course, Modern Warfare, and now with Black Ops Cold War. It's just the Battle Royale option. So that's something that you definitely have to think about. Would, Respawn Entertainment be smart to make Titanfall 3? Absolutely, guys. This is a title that is, a first-person shooter that's vastly underrated. I absolutely love Titanfall. I want to see it come back because it was basically the jetpack era of Call of Duty before Call of Duty. And I did not like the jetpack era of Call of Duty, don't get me wrong, but Titanfall was built on these mechanics, and so I want to see that come back because it's cool to have that in Titanfall, just not in Call of Duty. Titanfall 2 is considered among the finest first-person shooters released in recent years, thanks to its great gameplay mechanics and engaging single-player campaign. So Titanfall 2 features a single-player campaign packed with action and inventive twists. Plays a militia rifleman stranded behind enemy lines who encounters a veteran Vanguard-class Titan. You can enjoy multiplayer as well, guys. Titanfall 3 has yet to be announced officially. We will keep you up to date as more information comes out. So let's just put this into context, guys. Titanfall 3, like I said, not only could help promote Apex, which is the free-to-play, version or, within that same universe of Titanfall, but this could really be a way that Respawn could kind of right the wrongs from Titanfall 2. Not that Titanfall 2 had a lot of wrongs, in my opinion. I thought that Titanfall 2 was I enjoyed it, thoroughly. But I just think from a marketing perspective to when they released Titanfall 2, it did not give it, it did not do justice for what this title really, everything that was ingrained in it. I have friends, guys, that are still playing Titanfall 2 and they play it religiously, like they absolutely love the title. And so Titanfall 3 could absolutely elaborate on that. I mean, and could Titanfall become the next, big esport out there for first-person shooters? I mean, I think it possibly could. Now, sure, Valorant's come out, but Titanfall is unique, guys. It's a unique title that, with the jetpacks, the wall running, it's just awesome overall. I want to see it be an esport, which I think would be huge. And we know Apex Legends is an esport, but having Titanfall 3 as an esport could be really cool. I think that this is a title that needs to come back. It's one that needs another chance. And even if you want to say that this is their last chance at making this a big franchise, that being, Titanfall, not necessarily Apex, because that's, separate somewhat. But if you want to say this is their last go around with it, and if it does poorly from a sales perspective and such, then they move on to other titles or they just focus on Apex. But I think it deserves one more title to see what it's all got. And maybe if they release it away from Call of Duty and, Battlefield, which I think that they should release it maybe in the summer, I think that would be huge for Titanfall, releasing in the summer when it's, summer break, everybody's out of school and such, looking for a title to play. Titanfall 3 could be it. And I'm just saying, I think that releasing it then or even earlier in the year might be smart. All I'm saying is, guys, Titanfall 3 needs to happen. Full package, though, this time around, guys. Don't make it just multiplayer. Don't make it just a single-player story. Don't make it just co-op. Make it everything into one, a full package deal, and you can have something special. Do I think Titanfall 3 is being made right here, right now? I do. I believe it. Respawn sure denying it, but at the same time, guys, they may very well be in the early process and early development stage of this game, and so it would be, I don't think that they would be smart at all to not work on Titanfall 3. This is a title that needs to happen, guys, and they know that. They know that. It's kind of like, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Making a sequel to that, I mean, it's almost inevitable. Why wouldn't you make another one to that? But the same thing can be said with Titanfall. Why not make another one? Sure, the second one didn't live up to certain expectation when it came to sales, but Apex Legends has certainly shown you that there's still a love for this franchise. So bring it back, Respawn, bring it back, give it one last go around. If it does really great, move this series into the right direction, continue creating Titanfall games, and then, of course, keeping Apex Legends on the side where it's something that people, anyone can play for free. I think it would be absolutely awesome. But let me know, guys, do you think Titanfall 3 is being made currently at this point in time? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Titanfall 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Let's talk about Max Payne, guys, and the future moving forward for this franchise, which we've talked about on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of my Max Payne content here on YouTube. And what I'm going to say, guys, is that this is one of those titles, that being Max Payne 4, is a title that I have been wanting to see Rockstar make for a while now. I've wanted to see the continuation here of the Max Payne story. I think there's still a lot to be told. But nonetheless, guys, I want to talk about some of that speculation and the excitement of a possible Max Payne 4 coming to fruition at some point or another. So let's talk about it. So how Max Payne 4 could still happen. This is written, guys, by Jonah Schuhart of Screen Rant. It's been almost 20 years since Max Payne first hit store shelves and 8 full years since the last game. And it's time for Rockstar to bring Max back. The Max Payne series defined an entirely new subgenre, which with its third-person shoot-fest riddled with bullet-time mechanics and remained distinctive through its brooding dark noir atmosphere. The last fans saw of Max Payne was in 2012 with Max Payne 3, but with the continued prevalence of time-altering shooting mechanics in AAA video games, paired with the current success of both Rockstar and Remedy Entertainment, the time is more ripe than ever for these companies to bring the pain once more. Now, I've stated this, guys. I enjoyed Max Payne 3, but the first game is still my favorite in the franchise so far. So the first game was great. Second one I thought was a step in the wrong direction slightly, and then Max Payne 3 was a little bit, better in my opinion than the second one, but still not as good as the first one. I think that there's still so much to do here. I think that the dark story of the first game is really what I've been kind of hoping that they go back to somewhat, but to be honest, with Rockstar, Max Payne 3 was Rockstar's first go-around with Max Payne, so it might take a game or two for them to really get their footing with this franchise. And honestly, guys, we know Rockstar takes their time with their games, and with Red Dead Redemption 2 that came out, GTA 6 is probably being worked on, but the fact of the matter that, Bully 2 doesn't seem to be the game that's being worked on. It's been canceled as far as from multiple sources over at Rockstar. What could be next? Obviously GTA 6, but what about Max Payne? I mean, maybe LA Noire, just maybe Manhunt, but most likely they're working on either Max Payne or LA Noire 2. So, 8 years ago, guys, was when Max Payne 3 came out. An entire generation of consoles has almost come and gone since Max Payne 3's launch, and it seems almost as if Max has hung up his trench coat in Grimace for good. Remedy Entertainment, despite seeing great success with their most recent title Control, no longer has any say as to what happens with the Max Payne franchise. Likewise, Rockstar has seemingly had their hands full working on Red Dead Redemption 2 and the many ports of Grand Theft Auto 5 or 6, but, obviously they're working on GTA 5 as well. Despite that, it's never too late for Max Payne to make a comeback. So why should Max Payne 4 happen. There's a brand new generation of consoles just on the horizon, and the time has never been more ripe for such a classic franchise to return. If other Remedy games like Control can get a PlayStation 5 port and a classic PlayStation 3 game like Demon's Souls can get a PS5 remake, it's not inconceivable for something similar to happen to the Max Payne franchise. It has been almost 2 decades since the original Max Payne hit shelves, and while Remedy writer-director Sam Lake isn't a bad-looking guy, the digitized version of his face, which they used for Max's model back in the first game, could certainly use some polish. A remake or a remaster is just what the Max Payne series needs to make its way back into the public consciousness. I agree. Making, bringing at least a remastered version, guys, to Max Payne could be absolutely huge. That kind of, leads us to, if you bring Max Payne back, the first game in a remaster version, I would be all about that. I think that would be awesome. But on top of that, if you announce a remaster as well as a Max Payne 4, you're going to get a massive community excited about this. Ignoring the arguably overused practice of remastering and remaking already successful games, Max Payne 4 could still legitimately happen. With new consoles about to hit stores, companies are going to be looking for fresh ideas to draw in consumers. If Rockstar chose to make a new Max Payne, they could potentially attract plenty of older gamers. Not only that, but other slow motion games such as Superhot have seen a great amount of success since Max Payne's latest release, proving interest in the series' gimmick is far from dead. The fact that it would be a Rockstar game doesn't exclude the chance that Remedy could get say in Max Payne 4's development. Back when Rockstar was still making Max Payne 3, they showed the series' original creators a great deal of respect by asking Remedy to play the game and provide some criticism. Chances are, if Rockstar did decide to dig Max Payne out of his shallow grave, then fans would still get a product endorsed by the series' original creator. Aside from the Mark Wahlberg film that fans sometimes try to forget, Max Payne has never truly disappointed its entire fan base, and there's no reason to think it would start now. So, obviously, guys, what they're really talking about here with Remedy, since Remedy, did obviously Control, and that game probably took a lot of different, things from Max Payne, and kind of tried to take them even to a further, spectrum. Max Payne's got a lot of possibility, guys. I believe that. I look at Rockstar and what they've done with Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, and I think to myself, why couldn't they do this with Max Payne? For example, you've got Red Dead Redemption 2 as well as GTA 5 both had full, single-player stories, have co-op modes as well as, GTA Online and Red Dead Online. Why couldn't you do Max Payne Online? They did multiplayer in Max Payne 3, and I think there were elements of it that were pretty cool. But I think that they could go to the next level, without a doubt, guys. I think that it could absolutely go next level, making it like a living, breathing space, almost like a sandbox of different ways that you can traverse the world in an online environment. That would be huge for Max Payne, absolutely huge. Now, there's been talk, guys, that Rockstar is thinking they're only going to work on GTA and Red Dead at this point moving forward, because those are their two biggest heavy hitters. So they're just going to kind of go back and forth between those two games. GTA 6, Red Dead 3, GTA 7, Red Dead 4, and you kind of keep going back and forth. However, I actually think that there's a chance that, sure, they're going to probably continue making those games. There's no doubt about it. But I also think in between there, since their team over Rockstar has grown and grown in a drastic way because of the success of GTA as well as Red Dead, there's a chance that they're going to start working on other IPs, whether they're brand new or, currently existing brands that they have, that being like, LA Noire and Max Payne. I think there's a chance that both of those titles are going to get, new games. I think Bully certainly should have another title come out for that as well. But I do think that Max Payne 4 and LA Noire 2 are definitely going to come out at some point or another. When that is going to happen, guys, is a very hard question to answer. I think a remaster for Max Payne would be a great step in the right direction, but I think if I'm Rockstar, I would announce the remaster of Max Payne alongside an announcement of Max Payne 4. Even if the remaster came out way sooner than Max Payne 4, I think that would be great to have that, where some of the older gamers are able to kind of get back into that feel of the Max Payne fun games, but also it brings new gamers to the fray that can play Max Payne and kind of see what it was all about and get ready for Max Payne 4. That would be my thought. But I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Do you guys think we're going to see Max Payne 4? I believe we will, but it really comes down to, I believe, the community, guys. It comes down to those of us who are really excited about the continuation and love of these games. It's up to us to get Rockstar to, kind of really look at these things, kind of echoing these games into existence. It's a very big thing, guys, and honestly, communities are what can move mountains when it comes to these developers and what they decide to make next. So if you want Max Payne 4, you want a continuation of this franchise, we have to be the ones that are telling Rockstar that that's what we want. And if you have enough people doing that, you never know what might happen. Let me know, though, is Max Payne 4 going to be coming out, guys, in the foreseeable future, or do you think that it is done and over with? Let me know. And for more Max Payne 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.